you so much, Madhav, and welcome to all the viewers to Decoding Now. Well, initially, Madhav was just telling you about what was the murder which shook India. Today, we are going to be discussing the death that shook the world. Remember, it's been 72 hours since President Trump ended the ceasefire with Iran. 3 days into the new escalation, with drones and missiles raining fire and fury. But what if I told you that the war is now entering a more dangerous phase? From precision strikes to covert operations, the war is now shifting from firepower to spycraft. That's right. Tonight we are going to be decoding the death of a Republican hawk. A Republican hawk's death which ignited a storm of conspiracy theories. Senator Lindsey Graham, a right-wing senator who had publicly called to obliterate Iran. Well, years later, at the funeral procession of Ayatollah Khamenei, in fact, days later, at the funeral procession of Ayatollah Khamenei, there was a poster of a bullseye painted onto his face. You can see that on your screens. Soon after, he died of what officials described as a heart problem, an aortic dissection. Tonight, we will be decoding the conspiracy theories around his death. Was it Iran's blood oath? That's the first conspiracy theory which is doing the round. Or second conspiracy theory, did Kremlin give the kill order? The third conspiracy theory, was this mutiny by MAGA, Make America Great Again, actually defied the right-leaning line and lash out? Was it their backlash? We are going to decode all of that. There's no public evidence, remember, linking Lindsey Graham's death to any foul play. But the theories are spreading, and so are the questions about the next chapter of covert warfare. But first, let's give you the latest on the US-Iran war and how it's only escalating, perhaps into a new realm of war theater now. Well, US Central Command has launched its fifth wave of strikes on Iranian targets since the offensives restarted on 7th of July. CENTCOM has said that dozens of targets were hit across multiple locations using precision weapons. The aim is to degrade Iran's ability to target international shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The US military says that the strikes hit Iranian air defense systems, coastal radar sites, missile and drone capabilities, along with small boats. Well, explosions have been reported in many of the key Iranian locations. This includes Khuzestan, Mashhad, and Bandar Abbas. Now, meanwhile, Iran has also launched retaliatory strikes on US air bases in the Gulf. As per reports, explosions have been reported near a US military base in Kuwait, with claims that the facility was targeted in an Iranian strike. Reports also suggest that Iran had carried out an attack on a US-linked air base in Jordan. But tonight our focus is going to be on the shadow operations, the non-physical actions, black ops that you cannot per se see, covert ops, the unexplained events behind the violence, operations that at times result in the assassination of key strategic figures on competing sides. So let's tell you a bit about what really happened with Lindsey Graham. Well, credit to Mossad, the CIA, or whether it is possibly responsible for whoever may have pulled it off. Well, the US has successfully eliminated key Iranian figures in the past as well. Remember, who all were on US's key hit list, taking out the likes of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader. He was struck down in US and Israeli strikes on the 28th of February. Even Ali Arijani was taken out, the National Security Council member of Iran, followed by Major General Hossein Salami, the IRGC commander-in-chief. And there were several others of Iran who found themselves in the hit list. But of course, Iran also has its own hit list. Other than that of Senator Lindsey Graham that we are telling you, let's tell you about Iran's hit list. It has Donald Trump on it, and there are several posters of that as well. You have Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister. He also features in it. And of course, you have Pete Hegseth, the US Secretary of War. All of them are part of Iran's list. But interestingly, it is this one man, that is that of Senator Lindsey Graham, who's now dead. What appears to be the first high-profile US casualty is former US Senator Lindsey Graham. We are not claiming this. In fact, official reports have said that Lindsey Graham has died of an aortic tear, a heart disease. But there are multiple conspiracy theories which are now being flagged in the American circle of influence. Let's tell you where the conspiracy theories are really stemming from. There are three major questions which are still unanswered. The first is, who's the 911 call made by this mystery woman? Who was this mystery woman who made that call? And how did she disappear? Second unanswered question, how did a man suddenly drop dead? His family says there was no history of any heart disease that he was suffering. What really happened? Did he suddenly, right after he returned from a high-profile visit to Kiev in Ukraine, suddenly die? Third question, if it is just a heart disease, why is the FBI probing an aortic tear death? If it is as simple as that. These are the unanswered questions. The first conspiracy theory, let's begin with that Iran is the one which killed Lindsey Graham. But why is that being said? Let's explain. In fact, we are going to show you a video uploaded on social media by an unidentified Iranian handle. And this is the video that you can see. This is the conspiracy that we are getting for you. The video which you are going to see, where you will see how there is a poster put out. In fact, there you have it. A poster which was put out was one of the things. And after that, there's also a meme, a Lego video that you can see. Now, this is very interesting because remember, Lindsey Graham had actually been against Iran. He had talked about how US should be actively involved in it. There were posters which actually went out which had Lindsey Graham in a bullseye. But let's also explain to you the Lego video. This is the Lego video. We are going to show you the entire video. This one has the lens on the Iran-linked Lego video, which is now being looked into. We are going to play the entire video for you as well. But in this Lego video, you have Lindsey Graham. He's shown at his home. Then there is a shadow figure who appears outside his house. Then there's a shocked Lego, which appears to be Lindsey Graham, who collapses after that. Lego Graham then dies while he's on his way to the hospital. Then you have Laura Loomer, who's also on the kill list, which is shown. Also, there is a reference of KT, which is made in this video. The question is, does KT stand for Kill Trump? Watch this Lego video, which is now doing the rounds. So what really is the conspiracy all about? This is it. Look at the chronology which is going to explain the conspiracy for you. On 21st of June, you have Lindsey Graham speaking to one of the national medias in US saying, if Iran contests US's control of Hormuz, it's time to obliterate them. Then you have, of course, 11th of July, Graham is found dead. Look at the timeline. 21st of June, it's time that US obliterates Iran if it doesn't accept it. By 11th of July, Graham is found dead. Second coincidence, if you can call it that. You have Tehran You have this poster of a bullseye which is painted onto the face of Lindsey Graham. They have several other people on the hit list, but this poster is very interesting. You have President Trump also there on the hit list, but you have the picture of Lindsey Graham with a bullseye on his head. This was 6th of July. By 11th of July, merely 5 days later, you have Graham, who's found dead. Another coincidence, Lindsey Graham had replied and retweeted this poster of him with a bullseye, and he laughed at it, he mocked it, saying at least they used a good photograph of me. Judge me by my enemies. At least they used a good photograph, he said. This was 7th of July. By 11th of July, this man was dead. He said, judge me by my enemies on 7th of July. By 11th of July, he was dead. The next one. Let's tell you about the next big conspiracy. Did Kremlin kill Lindsey Graham? That's the second conspiracy. Theories are suggesting that Russia may have killed Lindsey Graham, but why? On 10th of July, Lindsey Graham had backed the sanctions on Russia. By 11th of July, he was dead. Look at the coincidence. On 10th of July, the sanctions bill, we are going to tell you a bit about the sanctions bill. There was a breakthrough on the verge of pushing through a sanction against Russia in the US Senate. And the next day, he was found dead. 10th of July is when Lindsey Graham had visited Ukraine. He had gone to Kiev. He had gone to a drone facility as well in Ukraine. Next day, 11th July, he was found dead in US when he returned. 10th of July, he returned to United States from Kiev. The very next day, he was found dead. They said it was a heart disease, but this is what he was busy doing. Let's tell you what could possibly drive Russia to kill Graham. What do they actually gain by it? Let's tell you all about the sanctioning Russia bill, which was being pushed through by none other than Lindsey Graham. This is significant because this bill is still pending in the US Senate. It targets the buyers of anyone who buys Russian oil, and it talks about imposing a 500% tariff on anyone who buys Russian oil from Putin. Graham's role in all of this, he's the one who actually pushed for it. He managed to get 85 signatures, which is over the 2/3 majority. So he had the numbers and the signatures to push through this sanctioning Russia bill. Graham was the one who also got the green signal from President Trump. The bill, however, now is stuck in the US Senate. Its fate is a bit unknown because Graham was mysteriously found dead. In fact, Graham spoke very categorically about this while he was in Ukraine. Listen in to one of the last few words coming out from him in the public realm before he was found dead.
I'm pleased to announce, as of about 30 minutes ago, we've reached agreement with the White House on a version of the Russian sanctions bill that they will support. It means it's going to become law. So when I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools to President Trump to help end this war.
Let's get you the third conspiracy theory, that this was a MAGA mutiny which may be behind the death. Graham, remember, had backed US aid to Iran. MAGA backlash was, they said, you can't be going around spending billions of tax money by funding wars in foreign nations. Graham also had slammed the Capitol Hill attack which had happened, and at that time, remember, the MAGA bunch had said that this was a war of independence for them. Also, Lindsey Graham had backed Israel, saying, I will be with Israel till my dying day, and that got him a lot of backlash from MAGA, saying that Graham is loyal to Israel and not to the US. He had also backed hawkish policies and then faced MAGA backlash because they were pushing for isolationism as being the only way to making America great again. So what was it? Was it a MAGA conspiracy? Was it Iran's hit list, or was it a kill by Kremlin? Let me go across to our guest today joining us, Glenn Carl, former CIA official who's joining us. Thank you so much, Mr. Carl, for joining us. You must explain to us, if indeed the death of Senator Lindsey Graham, and my heartfelt condolences for the loss, not just to the Senate, but also to the entire nation of US over his death. One of the most vocal people when it comes to matters of America, of internal security as well. But if his death was merely a cardiac disease, why is the FBI probing it?
Well, he's a public figure, so it's pretty normal. In fact, it's standard, I would say, for there to be an investigation into the causes of the death. And I think that's actually the only responsible position that authorities could take. And it's as far as any of us should go before we spin off into thinking, well, if this is true, then that is true. If that is true, then this is true, and so on. In the CIA, in the intelligence community, the greatest danger is the combining a whole series of ifs, because one can go anywhere at any time. Usually those lists of ifs will add up to something that is completely wrong. So the only really responsible way is to say he has died. Let's find out why, and let's look at the most likely reasons for it. I can speak from personal experience that people can be in perfect health and then have a cardiac event.
But Glenn Carl, not everyone has a bullseye painted on their face when there are funeral processions in Tehran. Not everyone has spoken out openly against the Kremlin, trying to put sanctions on Russia, and then mysteriously is found dead. Do the circumstances surprise you?
No, they don't surprise me at all. He's a public figure. You can find also with public figures that there will always be mortal enemies that they have. Certainly in international relations and issues concerning the Middle East, Russia, the United States, that is the case. I don't find that alarming at all. I think it's dangerous to put these ifs together. It is prudent and closest to the likely truth to say, this event happened, let's look into it. What is most likely the explanation? And it is that he was a 71-year-old man in good health who apparently had high blood pressure and who had a heart attack. The Russians and the Iranians may rejoice, but that's the fact. And beyond that, it's not wise to say anything else. When I was working, I think a very directly relevant example is the Bush administration was unhappy that the intelligence community had concluded that there were no weapons of mass destruction after the invasion. This is a very controversial subject. And so they assigned specific people to find the facts. In fact, you can find any fact you want. If you want me as an intelligence officer to prove that the moon is made out of green cheese, I can do so based on reports. So I don't think we should go further than that.
Okay, that's very interesting. We hopefully are not going to be pushed to that edge to prove that moon was built of blue cheese. But the reason why this is coming to light is because you have seen Iran's Lego. It almost seems like they are taking credit for what they are implying is a hit list. And we all understand the kind of psyops, the covert operations that US in the past. You talked about history. Historically, we've seen the Cold Era days, US and Russia, some of the biggest covert operations which were fought. It wasn't the battle that we could see. It was more bloody in the battle that we couldn't.
Well, I think the important point from your comment and from the issue we're discussing is that it is an astute move by the Iranians, whether it's just a mischievous university student making a video or the Iranian intelligence services. Almost doesn't matter, really. It's in their interest to sow doubt and fear and claim credit for something that they think is in their interest. That's not surprising. And happens all the time. The United States gave hundreds of billions of dollars of food aid to various countries in Africa in the 1970s when I was beginning my career. And the KGB very cleverly stamped with the appreciation of Russia on all of the boxes, and they got all of the credit. So this kind of thing, confusing people's understanding is to be expected.
Well, many say disinformation is one of the biggest tools of warfare, isn't it? Especially in today's day and age. Well, thank you so much, Glenn Carl. Appreciate you joining us here on Decoding Now to clearing up where facts start, where rhetoric ends, And of course, the entire culture of disinformation, perhaps one of the biggest weapons in today's modern warfare. With that, we wrap up the show. Thank you for watching.